Okay, Daijiro-Matsui coming in right around 200 pounds.
The match consists of 2 10-minute rounds.
And there he is, the hammered fist from Brazil, Vitor-Belfort, from the Brazilian top team. The very spirited Daijiro-Matsui.
This would be a rare fight where a Brazilian is going to avoid the ground. Vitor's definitely going to want to knock him out. Matsui's going to come straight at him like a ball of fire. He needs to take Vitor down to win.
You know, Matsui's been in against some of the greatest fighters in this sport and had some tough losses, but only against great fighters. And here we go.
People at home, don't blink.
Belfort versus Matsui.
Now, Matsui has a tendency to cut in his previous fights, so Vitor will take advantage of that. He's going to want to tattoo his eyebrows as much as he can.
Now, nothing worse than a very relaxed Vitor-Belfort, because you know that those rockets are going to start flying. Matsui's only chance really is to shoot and try to take the fight to the ground, but then Vitor really is a good grappler. He's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Definitely. If the fight goes to the ground, Vitor's comfortable. He's been doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu most of his life, but he'd rather keep it on his feet. He wants the knockout.
Now, Vitor might try to open him up with a jab or something just to get things rolling, because right now they're waiting for the other one to make a mistake so they can capitalize in a counter fight.
Matsui definitely looking out for that left cross right down the pipe. It's been effective throughout Vitor's career.
The crowd is getting restless. Both fighters circling, waiting and waiting for the other to make a mistake, to try something offensive. Daijiro switching his stance a little bit. Vitor is not really a kicker. That would be one way to open Daijiro up to possibly a ground game at least.
Both a little too cautious. Don't be surprised if Vitor explodes right in Matsui's face.
Showing a lot of respect to each other. If Vitor was overconfident because Matsui's coming off back-to-back losses, it doesn't show. And there's the shoot by Matsui, and Vitor gets his back. Not a good situation for Matsui. Pounding away with that right hand to the ribs and the head. Vitor needs to sink those hooks in. What do you think, Eddie?
Absolutely. I'd sink the hooks in as fast as possible. But Matsui, coming out of the Sakuraba camp, he'll be looking for the knee bar. He's going to roll into a knee bar if possible, so Vitor is quite aware of that.
It was Matsui that initiated the action with the shoot. Vitor sprawled great and then took his back. Now Vitor's got the right working to the body and then the head. He's got the left arm hook in, being held by Matsui. We could have another slow period here. Matsui's options are to tuck and hope that Vitor tries something, or to try and roll. Both men taking their time, being patient.
Perfect opportunity for Vitor to sink his hooks in. But he's a little cautious. He knows Matsui wants that knee. There he goes.
And
nice
he spins
spin.
up. And nice
spin.
Nice spin, as you alluded to. And he gets guard. It's a tight guard. Vitor scoots him away from the ropes because we don't want to have a restart. So Vitor, if they were going to scoot, they will scoot back toward the center of the ring. Matsui digging the heel kicks to the liver.
In Vitor's last fight, he was quite happy to stay in Gilbert Ivel's guard and ground and pound. I don't think he's going to be happy doing that now. I think he's definitely going to try and pass his guard, make a move, or just stand up and get out of there and try to get some combinations going.
Now, it's pretty hot here at the Seibu Dome. Outdoors, it's right around 85, 90 degrees, maybe even hotter, so sweat will be a factor when it comes to submissions.
Absolutely. We're 2 minutes into this fight, and they're drenched in sweat. I don't see any arm bars happening here at all. Too slippery.
You know, Vitor said that he really wants to make the sport of mixed martial arts grow in his native country of Brazil. And I quote him, he said, "Fighters don't go to the street and cause trouble. People like Ken and Frank Shamrock and Mark Kerr work and make a living doing this. They don't cause trouble in the street. A true sportsman, Vitor-Belfort.
Yeah, definitely. Jiu-jitsu's been getting a bad rap in Brazil. And believe me, most jiu-jitsu players in Brazil are great guys, nice guys, have respect for one another. They're totally misunderstood.
Vitor driving that right hand upside Matsui's head. Another left hand. Vitor's fist dangerous on the ground as well as standing. But standing, he's got a more of a chance to knock Matsui out, because you can't get the distance in a closed guard like this because you're too close. Can't wind up and get the momentum. Punches mixed. So far, Vitor is in control of the fight. He defended well against the shoot and is pounding away. Matsui has virtually not even landed a punch. There's a couple punches by Matsui, not a lot on them, but at least he's coming out striking now.
Seems like he's pushing Vitor away. You would think Vitor would want to stand. Maybe he's content to stay in the guard. Maybe he feels he can hurt Matsui here. Or he might want to try, if he can't hurt him, he'll probably try and cut him. Because I was talking to Matsui earlier, and I can see that the cuts on his eyes haven't healed from his previous fights.
Matsui going for the knees in the chest, trying to push Vitor back with the knees. Vitor grinding away, couple good punches landing in there. Good right hand by Vitor-Belfort.
It's a great left as well. That left connected solid.
Grinding, nice left to the chin of Matsui.
You know that hurt. Matsui's closing his eyes. He wants none of that. He wants none of that.
Pushing Vitor-Belfort back with his heels. Vitor grinding away. The referee looking real close.
Matsui's hurt.
Matsui is hurt. He's really eating a lot of punches here. Vitor in total control.
The fight's going to end quick here. Matsui can't take those punches.
Matsui turtling over onto a side position, giving his back again. Doesn't have a lot of options from the guard. He gave up the guard. Now he's in an even worse position because now he can't see the punches. He's a bloody mess. Oh, he's a bloody mess, folks. I think they're probably going to stop this and look at a cut on Vitor. I mean on Matsui.
Vitor absolutely dominating. And you rarely see a guy getting hurt in the guard nowadays, but Vitor has awesome power in both hands, even with the guard, even with the gloves.
Okay, Vitor almost did a knee to the head, but that's a no-no when all fours are touching the ground and the fighter is facing downward. He has to have at least one limb off the ground, that would mean standing on 3 limbs or less, before he can land a strike to the head from a knee or a kick.
Matsui's a bloody mess, although I think he's recovered. There he goes again.
Big punches again by Vitor. His punching cannot be understated. He can really whack with those punches. Trained with one of the greatest boxing coaches in the United States, Al Stanky, and it shows.
This is something you rarely see, a Brazilian grounding and pounding.
That's true. Usually it's the American wrestlers that have coined that style. But now Vitor, who's had a good relation with Mark Coleman and a lot of respect for Mark Kerr, I think has been a student of the game himself and learned from the wrestlers. Matsui trying to put the leg hook over, but he doesn't really have an arm bar or anything here. He has nothing. Vitor defends well. Vitor might want to try for that hooks in and go for a choke, but Matsui is moving. Vitor grabbing the ankle. Matsui tucking, going for a knee bar, but he slips out. Vitor whacking with that left hand.
Vitor respecting the role of Matsui. I don't think Vitor's going to go for the hooks. I don't think he's going to go for his back. I think he feels really comfortable just dominating Vitor with his weight and his punches.
Yeah, Vitor is dominating Matsui at this point with the punches. Matsui's bleeding a lot out the nose. I wouldn't be surprised if the doctor stopped it just to take a check, just for safety reasons. You know, we're not out here to see mayhem here. This is a sport, and sometimes cuts do happen.
It almost looks like Matsui's trying to escape the ring and trying to escape the fight. He looks really hurt. He's bleeding bad. It's just a matter of time.
He's eaten quite a bit of shots from Vitor-Belfort. Belfort doesn't look any worse for the wear. Really hasn't been hit at all. Has been in no danger. Completely, totally dominating the fight on the ground from the top and also from the back of Matsui.
The only chance Matsui has here is if Vitor runs out of gas and Matsui turns it on. That's the only chance. Because as long as Vitor's cardio stays intact, Matsui doesn't appear to have a chance here.
Vitor-Belfort, in his mixed martial art career, has had 2 losses, and one of them is to Kazushi Sakuraba, one of the greatest fighters in the world. That was a real tough loss because at that time, Vitor was highly regarded, had just knocked out Vanderlei Silva in Brazil, and was really on an upswing. And then he took about a year off and came back and dominated Gilbert Yvel from Holland, who was a highly regarded striker, and it surprised everyone, and he was basically saying, with that fight, I'm back.
Yeah, in the Sakuraba fight, the first minute or so, Vitor looked dominating. He landed punch after punch, but I talked to Sakuraba. He said most of those punches were to the top of the head, and he wasn't fazed by it at all. But it appeared on tape that Vitor was about to knock Sakuraba out, and then the fight after that just was all Sakuraba, 100%. Spinning back kicks, tight kicks while Vitor was on his back, complete domination. But Vitor looked great against Gilbert Yvel. He's looking great here. He is back.
Yeah, he is back. And, you know, as you alluded to before, the ground and pound game. Okay, and there we go, the end of round 1. The ground and pound game is what it's all about for Vitor-Belfort, who totally took Matsui to the cleaners in that round.
Complete domination. I wouldn't be surprised if Matsui doesn't answer the bell. The doctor might stop it. He's bleeding bad.
Yeah, he was busted up quite a bit. He's got a couple little nicks around it, but it's mainly the nose that's bleeding. Matsui being the true warrior, he has never given up in mixed martial art combat. He's never tapped out. He's had some hard losses, as we said, to Igor Vovchanchin, Vanderlei Silva, but those are some of the top fighters in the sport. Here's Vitor grounding away with the right hand, body, then to the head, got his back, grounding away, punching away, pow!
Totally happy. Punching from behind. He not once did he think to sink his hooks in.
That right hand is just blasting Matsui. Matsui realizes that that's not a good position to be in. And he's trying to think about tucking and rolling and going for the leg, but Vitor's leg is so far back he can't go for the knee bar. And Vitor sneaking a shot back of the head. That's actually not legal, but and here he is in the guard, just pounding away. Matsui trying to push the knees to the chest, get him away, but that's only giving Vitor more distance to punch with. Matsui trying to push back, really in trouble here in the first round against Vitor-Belfort. Here it is again, Vitor just grounding away, just cracked that left hand right upside Matsui's chin. Another left hand. It's Vitor's toughest weapon is his left hand, really. He's knocked a lot of guys down with one punch. And here it is again, Matsui trying to escape, heels on hips. Matsui just taking a beating in this first round.
Effective grounding and pounding, reminiscent of Matt Hughes.
Of the great Matt Hughes.
Now Vitor's got to be careful here because in Matsui's fight with Vanderlei, he was cut up. Vanderlei cut Matsui up, and Vanderlei kept coming back. He doesn't look tired. He looks tore up.
Yeah, that right eye of his is in bad shape. It's all swollen up. Vitor's back up, patient again.
Vitor needs to be careful here. Even though Matsui's cut up, he can go forever.
Matsui is the true energizer Japanese pro wrestler. He just goes and goes and goes.
He can take punishment. He's hard to submit. Carlos Newton had him in a couple armbar attempts. Escaped him. Went the distance with Newton.
Not a lot of guys go the distance with Carlos Newton, but Daijiro-Matsui did. And that right eye of his is almost swollen shut. They might have to make a judgment call if it gets much worse.
The question here is, how does Vitor-Belfort feel? Is he getting a little winded? Because he could be in trouble if he's tired. But I could be totally wrong.
I think Vitor looks relaxed as he was in the first round. He's not breathing hard. There's only a short break in between rounds. We would probably see some fatigue. I expect that Vitor is probably going to explode with a punch combination standing. He might not wait for the shoot this time. But Matsui is pretty fast on his feet, backward and forward. So if Vitor does rush in with a punch combination, Matsui could just either avoid it and then drop down for a leg, or he could just move around the ring. Once again, Matsui might be the one that presses this fight because Vitor is being the matador so far. Do you see any weaknesses in Vitor-Belfort in this fight, Eddie?
Absolutely not. He's completely dominating Matsui. He just needs to be careful. Matsui's cardio is great.
Matsui's cardio is a strength of his, but probably in every other way, he may be outgunned in this fight.
Doesn't look good for Matsui so far.
Matsui's not a real kicker, so Vitor doesn't have to worry about him chopping away at the leg.
The referee calling for action.
And it sounds like the crowd's calling for action as well. A lot of circling, a lot of looking, but not a lot of fighting. I expect Matsui to explode any minute. It's harder to shoot, actually, with the bare foot.
Absolutely.
With the wrestling shoe, which Vitor has on, it gives you more traction, and the acceleration is quicker because it's more tendency to slip.
And he's using the shoes.
Okay, the referee is warning both fighters to get busy, get with the program, and turn it into a fight. Because after all, this is a fight. This isn't a staring match. We really want to see action.
Like I was saying, Vitor's using the shoes to generate power for his punches. Matsui should have came in with shoes. The danger in wearing the shoes is getting caught in the heel hook. But
Matsui's never been a heel hooker.
well, I meant for Matsui. He should have been wearing shoes, probably.
Right.
Because I don't think he'd be in any danger of a heel hook coming from Vitor. Vitor just wants to
if anything,
punch.
Yeah, if anything, Matsui would be the one that would throw down the heel hook, but he hasn't even been close to a heel hook because Vitor has protected his legs well on the ground from Matsui.
Here we go.
Okay, Vitor shoots in, he goes for a single, and he takes down Matsui.
Surprise.
Vitor on top in the guard. Now, that was a reversal of what happened in the first round because Matsui shot at that time was Vitor shooting and getting a nice little single leg.
Matsui holding on for dear life, holding Vitor's head down. He doesn't want a repeat of round one. I don't think he could take it.
The chances are good because of the sweat. He's not going to be able to hold on to those arms. Vitor's going to pop back up and start grounding down with those punches.
Another flurry or two, like in round one, and it should spell the end for Matsui.
Yes, too bad because Matsui, a real classy gentleman, just a little bit in over his head against Vitor-Belfort in this one. Vitor-Belfort really moving up in the rankings, considered probably one of the top fighters in the sport today. There's some great fighters in that division. You got Kazushi Sakuraba, Frank Shamrock, Tito Ortiz, and Vitor's right up there in the mix. Dan Henderson. That's a hot division right now. The middleweight division, 200 pounds and under.
Come on, friend.
Matsui says he loves arm bars from the ground, from the mount and the guard, but don't expect one here. The mixture of the blood and the sweat, it's just not going to happen unless he would have came in with pants. That's the only hope he would have had for an arm bar.
Now, I know Vitor broke his hand when he fought Sakuraba, but it doesn't seem to be a factor tonight. He doesn't seem to be pulling his punches. He's letting them go with full force, so that hand seems to be back 100%. Vitor grinding away with that left hand again, just taking his time, picking his shots, a little short shot there with the left. Belfort up now. Now, this is a dangerous position. Matsui is going to take full power punches. As soon as Vitor works those hands free, he's going to land the bomb. Picking his shot. Expect a flurry, folks. Matsui chopping away with a little tap of his own.
It's quite obvious Vitor has no intent to submit Matsui. He's not trying to pass his guard. When he had his back, he didn't sink his hooks in. He wants to punish Matsui.
Okay, now the referees are restarting the fighters because they were getting a little bit too close to the ring ropes. One of the safety prevention measures that they take here in the Pride Fighting Championships is if they're on the ground and sliding toward the ring, rather than have them fall out of the ring, which could be potentially dangerous, they actually reset the fighters in the exact same position they were on the ground toward the center of the ring and restart them in the same position.
Yeah, that was taken from jiu-jitsu tournaments. It's quite common.
Pride is taking, oh, nice combination there by Vitor-Belfort. Pride has taken virtually the best rules of all mixed martial arts and some martial arts which aren't mixed martial arts, like say kickboxing or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and put them together in a rule format that is user-friendly, fan-friendly, and safety-friendly for the fighters. Good left hand by Vitor-Belfort. Belfort trying to get up high again. Base is up high. Expect him to spring up and drop a couple of bombs. Chopping down with a back hammer fist on Matsui.
It's a great idea. Great left.
There it is. That's his bread and butter punch, folks. Vitor-Belfort is a left-hand hitter, but that right hand lands again. His base up high. Matsui, oh! Those punches were partially blocked by Matsui. Matsui might want to try a sweep when he goes up high like that, but Vitor knows the counters.
Here they go. They're moving him to the center of the ring again. Right. Good idea. Keeping him in the exact same position.
And there they go again.
Vitor-Belfort completely dominating the fight.
3 minutes left in the round.
Not exactly the barn burner. Some people predicted that Vitor was going to knock Matsui out quick. Oh, Matsui going for an armbar, but
Too much space.
Too much sweat, too much space. It was a wild attempt, but at least he tried something, rather than just lay in the guard and take a beating. Matsui looking worse for the wear, though. The blood is pretty much subsided. It doesn't appear that Vitor is trying to finish Matsui. Oh, nice right hand by Vitor.
Nice. A couple more of those.
Vitor taking his time and popping up and boom, 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 and then back down in control. Are there any elemental moves that Matsui could do here to get back in the game, Eddie?
The only thing he could do here is a submission from his back, an armbar triangle, but it's not going to work on Vitor. Vitor's too slick. He's been doing jiu-jitsu for many, many years. He needs to get back. I mean, a knee bar would be his best bet. I don't know if he can pull one out off from his back. I don't know how good he is from his back pulling leg submissions.
That's a problem. He's never even hit it at having a knee bar on someone in any of his previous fights. I doubt we will see one tonight.
Yeah, but coming from the Takata camp, you'd expect it, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen tonight.
Well, one thing we know about Vitor. Oh,
Past his guard.
Past his guard, got the side mount now.
There's not much time left now. Vitor needs...
Now the referee is going to scoop them back toward the center. Matsui looks like he's ready to... He's never given up in a fight, but he's basically holding on right now. Now this is a very bad position for him because Vitor's got... He can put the knee up to Matsui's head, and he can punch from this position. He can also go for a side choke.
Looks like he might want to mount, but if he mounts, well, he's back in the guard.
Back in the guard. Good position there by Daijiro-Matsui.
Good movement, good hip movement from Matsui.
Matsui, a good defensive grappler to a certain degree, but it's not stopping the punches. That's the thing.
You wouldn't expect Matsui to put a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu stylist back in the guard that easily, but he did. It doesn't seem like Belfort is bothered by that.
He's not worried, as you said. The options from the guard are the triangle and the armbar, and Vitor is not worried at all, so he just lets him get back in the guard because actually it's better punching position for him. He may not have trained a lot in the side mount. But, oh, nice left hand. I think Vitor is pretty much content to ride this one out and get the victory. It seems...
You read my mind, Steve.
It seems pretty much that the judges could come to no other conclusion than a unanimous decision for Vitor-Belfort. I've been wrong before, but I would hedge my bets that this one is going to go to Vitor-Belfort via unanimous decision.
No doubt. This isn't Vegas.
This isn't Vegas.
It's over.
The fight is over. Vitor helps him up, showing the good sportsmanship. Matsui looks a little disappointed in himself, obviously, but the thing is he didn't get stopped by Vitor-Belfort, which was one of the predictions that many people had. So it's not, if he loses the fight, it's not catastrophic.
He hung in there, showed a lot of heart. Bottom line, Matsui has one of the biggest hearts in the business. He never gives up.
Yeah, Vitor-Belfort is virtually unscratched. I mean, he basically got a workout. And here it is in the replay. Belfort getting the position up high and cracking away. That one partially blocked, but that's pretty much his strategy. Get the high base up like a wrestler and cracking away with that left hand landing and then the right, and then Matsui blocking fairly well the other punches, but those first left hands did land clean. Matsui's right eye fairly swollen, but I've seen him in worse shape in some fights. For instance, the Bo Chanson fight, he was bleeding pretty bad. He was all busted up.
Matsui looks like he got jumped.
Yeah, he did. Well, he virtually did get jumped.
And we go to the decision.
Waiting for the judge's decision, and here it is. Vitor-Belfort.
The judges have ruled Vitor-Belfort.
Great win for Vitor. He needed that.
Vitor took his time. He didn't do anything crazy. He got the win. It wasn't a tremendously exciting match, but Matsui is a great defensive fighter, so Vitor did what he had to do, got the win, up for bigger and better things. There they are showing the respect. There's no bad blood between these gentlemen. They're both really charismatic individuals.
There was a lot of blood, but no bad blood, like you said, Steve.
Yeah, and Vitor-Belfort raising the hand of Daijiro-Matsui for the hometown crowd. An unfortunate loss for Matsui again. He goes back, but he doesn't look dejected.
Vitor has truly become a class act.
Para todos meus amigos do Brasil, para minha família, para minha tchutchuca, beijo, tchutchuca. E gostaria de agradecer ao Zé Moraes pela força que ele tem dado do esporte. Zé Moraes, estou contigo. Doutor Eurico, Baixo da Gama, é a gente aqui no Brasil brilhando também. Bad Boy, o Rialto, meus companheiros de treino. E a todos vocês, fãs do Japão, dos Estados Unidos e do Brasil inteiro. Domo arigatou gozaimasu. Gostaria de lançar um desafio. O ano que vem, o Vitor-Belfort vai estar vindo na categoria de peso pesado, se Deus quiser.
今日はどうも本当にありがとうございます。本当に僕のことを応援してくれる皆さんのおかげで今日は勝ったと思います。スポンサーである皆様、友達、家族、そして応援してくれる皆さん、本当にどうもありがとうございました。
E gostaria de parabenizar o Daijiro-Matsui, ele é um lutador muito guerreiro, muito técnico. Eu me preparei bastante, está de parabéns, Daijiro-Matsui, e toda a equipe do Takada Dojo.
松井選手、本当にどうもありがとうございました。本当に強くて、またぜひよろしくお願いします。
And there it is. A tremendous amount of respect paid to Daijiro-Matsui by Vitor-Belfort. And there they are, the Brazilian top team. Vitor-Belfort, Daijiro-Matsui, bowing to the audience.
選手退場。